I forgot to have y'all sign that last time. So item 2 on the agenda is public comments. Public comments. Sheriff, are you making a comment?
No.
Oh, you're shutting the door. Oh, okay. I had it there for a minute. All right, item 3 is to consider and thank you. Consider and or approve hiring Hannah Connor as our AgriLife Extension agent. And Hannah is here. Did y'all have anything to say or anything?
I can just reintroduce that Hannah Connor is our I want to introduce her. You want to get up? If y'all have questions for her, she graduated from Texas A&M, which is wonderful, but I graduated from Texas Tech, so it's not anything that I,
Right.
that I'm excited about. A&M graduate, so
Well, just spending a few days in A&M or in College Station a couple weeks ago, which I'd never been there before. Howdy.
yeah.
Everywhere you go.
And every person that gets up to speak,
Howdy. Yeah. So,
Fayette County, that where?
Yes, I originally came from Fayette County, lived there pretty much all my life.
where is Fayette County?
It is LaGrange,
Oh, okay.
it's Fayette County seat. Huge county, it was a lot of fun. Growing up in 4-H and FFA there and grew up on my grandfather's Brahman cattle ranch. Spent a lot of time with him working cattle. Got my degree in ag communications after that at A&M, and I'm excited. This is where I want to be.
We're happy to have you. Y'all have any questions for him?
In the minutes, it needs to read what her salary, y'all's portion of that salary, and I think that's 27,184. Is that correct?
Did we get that right, Kathy?
Did we? Sorry, Kathy.
Just make sure.
I meant, I came in, I meant to ask.
I think Kathy and I had that discussion last week, and I think that is correct, but
I have the June 30th of 2022 budget, and it has 27,184.
I think I've looked at that 2 or 3 times.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Lori will be mad at me.
Right. What's that AgriLife number, Kathy?
It's 665.
665.
665.
Oh, yeah. Okay, what'd you say, 27?
27,184.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, very good. Plus travel.
Right.
And all that, so.
All right. So do I hear a motion?
We approve Hannah Connor as the AgriLife Extension Agent at county salary portion of 27,184.
And I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, motion carried. Congratulations.
That is September, right?
Yes, ma'am. And she'll be here on September the 1st, extension. Her office won't be open on Fridays, and she'll show up, and work.
Right. But
But
she's gonna go to Hansford and work with Christy for a month, right? Yeah.
yeah, she'll be there for
Okay.
1 month, but she'll be in and out of the office over here. I'm sure Christy will be here over here, and we'll meet. I'll try to have a volunteer leadership meeting before she starts, so that we can
Introduce
get
her to,
expectations
right.
in the right direction.
Okay.
Try to get her where she can have the best chance to succeed. New agents.
We're glad to have you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Glad
We are.
you're
And we're working on the FCH agent too. That position's been open internally.
Right.
So I'll do the best I can to get that.
Yeah, we've been working hard on that.
An internal applicant can be hired at any point throughout the year. I will do it on the 1st so that it,
Okay,
I'll try to make them start on the 1st day of the month.
okay.
But we have a hiring dates now. So the next hiring date, if it goes external, will be November. Then it's January 1st.
Okay.
so that everybody starts at Discovery Extension on the same day.
Okay,
And we don't want them to be in the office having a bunch of burden when they go. Because what we'd have is when they go to Discovery Extension, there'd be somebody that worked for 6 months. They're already taking emails, taking phone calls.
Right.
They're not, they have no thought of being at Discovery Extension. So now her first day will be here, but her first true day on the job will be after Labor Day. They'll go on the 6th to College Station.
to College Station. Okay, good. Okay, I think Tara wants to get a picture. Do you want all of us? Okay, all right, come on. I just got a bunch of junk.
Go up there by Jerry. 'Cause Jerry's always in there.
It's too late. I already had your. You know each other.
Uh-oh.
We broke the camera.
I'm gonna take one with the phone too, so. 1 second. Thank you for being patient.
Said we were.
The newspaper will say it was. Thank you.
Thanks, Tara.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So y'all like.
If y'all need anything, Hannah, holler at us, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Will do. Yeah, you'll just go right down into the hall on the right.
Okay, thank you.
Should have told me before. You know that.
Okay, item 4 is to consider and or approve the bond for Angelica Hartref in the amount of $2,000. This is just her constable bond.
I move to approve the bond for Angelica Hartraff in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Item 5 is to consider and or approve the interlocal agreement with Hetch. This is just the agreement we need to have in place with our nonprofits.
Make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Hetch. I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I need to
Oh.
abstain. I'm the treasurer.
Oh, okay, right. So Chris, you abstain?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, item 6 is to consider and or approve the Tcdrs retirement rate for county payroll effective January 1. I believe Kathy sent some information out to everybody on that. Do you have anything to add, Kathy?
No, nothing I know of. I know that's just plain as mud.
Right, okay, so our current required rate is 11.55. That's our current required rate.
That's what we do now, yes.
Okay. The elected rate we have for several years was 11.35, but right now we're paying 11.55.
Yes.
Okay, for plan year 2023, the required is 9.78. So if we stay with 11.55, it's approximately 15,000 more for budget year 2022-23.
Right. And that's what's currently in the budget that y'all been working on.
Yes.
The 11.55.
Yes, it's already in the budget.
That's in the retirement part. That just gets you more funding faster. I mean, like I said, you're at, for 2023, we're at 95.7% funded. You want to be as high as you can get. So that'll just get you higher, that percentage will. And with the year we had, of course, they projected that 2023 back in May and June. Next year in May and June, it may be higher than the 11.55.
Right.
I mean, because of, what's taking place next year. So, yeah, they go by the, the economy and, interest rates and all that stuff, so. But it's still, we're only funding at 190 though. We're funding, our employees pay 7% out of their check into the retirement system. the county matches it at 190. That's the 190 right there. We match at 190, but it varies each year though, as far as the required rate and stuff, but it never goes off of the 190%. I know that's scary.
I thought I kind of had a grasp on it until you started with that, and I was like, oh, okay.
No. We match at 190, but for that 190, you have to have a required and elected rate every year because of your payroll and all that. So that's how they come up with the 1135, the 8978. But the 1135, when we hit that, probably 4 or 5 years ago, the court decided when it came down a little bit, well, let's stay at the 1135, and that's going to keep us funded more. Because our rate of funding, the 95.7, is excellent. They want you to be above 90, because they'd like for you to be 100%, but there's not very many counties that get that because you add employees every year and you just keep adding the funding to it. So it's hard to get to that point, but they'd like for you to get to that point.
I'll make a motion that we approve the TCDRS retirement rate for county payroll at 11.55.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
And then I'll do I'll go online and do this plan customizer, and I'll change that to that for this next year. And then I don't know if just the judges have to consider all of that. But I'll have to, what I'll do is I'll send that in to Ralph Wallace, who is our representative, and he will send the information back to me, and then y'all will sign off. It always has to be done by the 15th of December, though.
Mhm.
All right, item 7 is our budget work session, and I think you all received an email that we need to make some decisions today if possible, so we can be in compliance with all of our posting and whatnot. So we really need to try to come to some decisions on pay raises if we're going to do that, and also if we're going to give the retention incentive that we discussed out of the ARP money. So there's just a couple of things we probably need to make some decisions on. Alicia, any more line item changes that we were needing to make, or we're good with everything we made last time?
The only thing that we're still waiting on are some of the agreements with LEPC.
Right.
We got Hetch Care.
Yeah, I got
There's just those few.
Hutchinson County Crisis. I got theirs today, so we'll put that on the agenda for Monday, the 12th.
And the only other thing that I had was whenever I discussed about the sheriff cars. And
I got the ARP grant request for that.
so do we need to,
Well, I don't have that on my,
so that's something we can discuss that at the next meeting with the ARP stuff if they decide to approve.
right, yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna have it on the regular session on the 12th.
Okay. And then I just made up this kind of a policy regarding that $2,000, if y'all wanted to do that. It just kind of outlines the guidelines so that there's no question. Thank you. Whenever it comes down to being paid.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Kind of the highlighted areas are what needs to be decision. That need to be this decision made on those. It basically just states, why we're doing it, and I suggested calling it a retention incentive rather than a premium pay, because premium pay, there's a little bit more stipulations regarding that, and it kind of suggests that you're paying people who actually work during whenever COVID was huge, and
Right.
if we're gonna pay it at a certain date to everybody who's working now, it's really not a premium pay, it's more of just a incentive to keep them,
We're glad you stuck with us.
yes, exactly. So, and then it just says where the funding is gonna come from, that, all the exempt employees will have to be paid out of the general fund, and then the non-exempt employees, non-exempt will
Yes.
be paid out of, ARP fund.
Right.
And then we just need to decide on the actual amount that will be paid
And when?
and when, and what their qualifying date is, if they're gonna be an employee on the very first of the budget year, or if they're gonna be an employee on the date that you pay it. So you just need to decide what that qualifying date is.
Now, October the 1st is fine with me.
For active employee as of the beginning of the budget year.
Yes.
I think they all look good.
Yeah.
All the dates.
Me too.
So
And with using those amounts, 2,000 for full-time employees and 500 for eligible part-time employees. We did make the Kathy and I kind of got together to come up with this, but it could be changed. The part-time employees would be anyone who works greater than 20 hours per week, but under 29 hours a week.
okay,
And so the cost of that to the general fund, if it approves like it is, would be 100,000 and 128. That's what the general fund would pay out.
And that does include adult probation, right? That true?
Yes,
Yeah, because in my figures that I gave y'all originally, I did not include the adults. Because I guess I just don't ever include them because
they're paid by the state.
get their money from the state, We pay their payroll, we do their payroll, but we get reimbursed. So I didn't know how that worked with their budget.
And so if you included those employees as well, it would just be a transfer in from the general fund to their state funding. So that we would pick up that tab and they wouldn't use their state funding for that.
And the same would be for, I think we have one in the juvenile.
One juvenile. Sorry, one adult. And it's the same way for the road and bridge people that get paid out of the road and bridge fund or the airport fund or the museum fund. We
We'll
would
just transfer into that fund.
To
Okay.
cover the cost, yes. And that's just for exempt employees. All of the non-exempt employees would still get their money out of the ARP.
ARP. I know you gave that to me one other time, but do you have totals on that? Like,
The total cost for the ARP fund
Mhm.
would be $209,792.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, we have approximately 42 exempt when you add a couple of adult and juvenile, and then we have about 87. So it's not.
Okay. Discussion?
I like the way you got it wrote up.
Yeah, that's. Alicia is, y'all don't know, Cliff, how great she is.
Details.
Okay.
We love it.
I hope you always remember that.
Yes. Yes.
I like it too. Just like it is.
I like the way you wrote it up.
Is there a general consensus that everything's good with this?
And I've got one that's not highlighted. It's got it up on that you could sign to be in the minute.
Do we need like motion on this?
What we could probably do, what would probably be best to do is, Kathy and I can submit a ARP application for approval on Monday. And then
The
that way-
12th, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, the next. Whenever the next.
or unless we decide to have a meeting before then, which
Yeah, on the 12th.
it won't be this Monday because I already gave Gary the day off.
Yeah, I'm taking vacation day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get an.
Yeah. Y'all have to go to work.
Hey, first.
What everybody else is doing.
Okay.
And then we just need
I don't know where I'm going in one day.
I mean, so far we've got the $200 a
Right.
month budgeted for a raise. And I just want to hear that, yes, absolutely, that's what we're doing.
Right.
So that
From Dwight, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, let's
So we can't vote on.
don't,
We're just,
well, we can, I believe we can in our budget work session. Right?
I don't think that there's a motion and
There's not a
anything like that that can be made.
but general consensus on the retention incentive is everyone is in agreement, correct? Okay, well then I'm gonna send that around for y'all to sign.
And then we'll make it official the next Monday we're meeting.
Yeah, because we're on the
Well, it
12th,
doesn't need to.
we're hopefully gonna set the budget and the tax rate.
Yeah,
you can't sign it.
Not until we,
Because it's fast and.
Okay, all right, but we're good.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, then I will get that application submitted to you so that you can have it on the next.
agenda. Okay, and then the other thing that we need to discuss is the 200 a month proposed raise. And everyone was in agreement with that?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we can make those changes?
Okay.
Yes,
But that-
and so on Monday,
Some people know they have to report it to the state as well.
right, so then Monday we can, when we set the budget and the tax rate, that'll all be in there and we can approve all of that at the same time.
Sounds good.
What else do we need to work on, Leisha, on the budget? Those were the two main topics that we needed to get, because we have some publication requirements.
And the only other thing I wanted to mention, I did the legislative conference that TAC put on.
Yeah,
last
how was
week.
that?
It was good. It wasn't a whole lot because it's an off year,
Mhm.
but a lot. The one thing that stuck into my mind that I've had on my mind for a long time is actually making a plan for the remaining ARP funds. A lot of the bigger counties, they had to.
Right, because they had so much money.
Right, and so I just feel like instead of us nickel and diming it, and then in 10 years, we can't tell the taxpayers what we did with it. It would be better if we could say, we've got about 2.6 million almost left. If we could say of that $2.6 million, we want to use X amount of it for upgrading our facilities, or X amount of it for technology purposes, just have a specific, a more specific reason. And then those people who apply for it, if it falls into that, and once that part of it's gone, then we can know that it's gone, It just gives us something to answer to the taxpayers in 10 years, whenever they say, well, what did you do with that $4 million? And instead of saying, well, we did this, and we did this, and we did this, and we did this, we can say.
But we'll still be able to give them an itemized accounting of everything we spent it for.
Right.
Because we've got that.
We do have that, but I feel like right now we're using it like an income tax refund and just going and saying, oh, let's get this,
Yeah.
It's just, there's no structure, there's no plan. And just.
So do you think that,
Something a little more.
Well, I know of two
Structured
projects that are
is the word that I'm looking for.
so do you think the ARP committee needs to meet and come up with a plan? Or,
Whether it's the committee or whether it's just,
We had that committee. We didn't have a division with
right.
we just,
well, that was only to answer two qualifications
And I don't know,
originally.
if it's the same committee that you had, or maybe if it's just a couple of you guys from the court and me and Kathy, because we're, in the know of stuff, and we come up with something and present
Plan.
it to the court to decide upon. Just something that states, are we gonna use it to just replace stuff out of fund balance that we normally would have budgeted for? Are we gonna use it to actually, do improvements that kind of kicked along the road because we didn't want to get into
Right.
fund balance, just different things. And it doesn't matter what you spend it on, just have some sort of plan.
Okay.
We've given some money that structures that aren't ours, like opportunities. you know.
Right, and the guy that was doing the presentation, I think he was from like El Paso County, so they got, tons of money. But they had, X of it was for infrastructure and X amount of it was for nonprofit support and X amount of it was for, I can't remember some of the other things, but they just had those specific groupings, and if the
Once the
request for
funds
them-
for that were expended, then that was it.
Right.
Okay. So
That, you never know what's gonna come up.
No, you don't.
Well,
But even before ARP, you never knew what was gonna come up.
No.
So I mean, we can't use that as let's just leave it open in case, but you have to have it designated by the end of 24. And so you don't even have to spend it all this year. You could say, we're only gonna spend $1 million of it for this budget year and then $1 million of it for the next budget year, whatever, so that it gets stretched, or maybe you want to just do big projects and use it all up as fast as you can.
Well,
I'm not saying any plan is gonna be wrong. We just need a plan.
but if you say it's for building maintenance, for example,
Mhm.
and something else comes up, and you change it and say, hey, we need,
If you could, I mean, if it was a consensus of, you've used all of your maintenance budget up and, half of the library falls down or something.
Don't say.
yeah. They're done that.
Oh,
That's happened.
Or the museum gets flooded. Yeah.
Or the museum gets flooded or.
Early, Chris.
So I mean, it's
I'll take it all.
something- you have a starting point to where if something like that happens down the road, you haven't spent it all on something else and it's already gone.
I mean, at some point, it's all gonna be gone.
On
But-
stuff that, we could still be, that normally would have been in budgets,
so, explain to me exactly what you're talking about. I mean, say, we're gonna spend so many dollars this year on infrastructure, or
Well, that's where we need a plan.
That's where you need to.
We need to
come up with
come up with
Of
that
the
plan to
2.6
address
million that
those.
We have left, we want to spend 1.5 of it on improving our facilities.
I think she's talking about earmarking, but not, I mean, you can say like 1.5 to facilities, but if something else comes up, you're not already
Right.
obligating it. You're just saying,
Yeah.
this is the vision we want to have.
no, okay, yeah, I got it.
It's
As long
just
as
a
there's some
vision.
flexibility
Yeah.
there, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Because
I
like I
didn't-
said, right now, I feel like it's just kind of a first come, first serve and yeah. And then by the end of it, we're gonna be like, well, I mean, we did buy a lot of stuff with it, but we didn't have any purpose.
It was random.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
So,
So I just feel like that it's something more.
And just as long as you don't spend it, like they said in the very beginning too much of it on something that's gonna require, like, let's say, Gary, you decided to add on a section to the annex. Well, who's gonna maintain that section to the annex? Or, anything like that. You just don't want to get too much into, well, okay, we're gonna.
obligated
I mean, it's
financially
yeah, like some of.
when we don't have the money.
Do it with salaries. You can hire 5 new people. Well, at the end of 2024, who's gonna pay for those 5 new people?
Right.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
mean, you're committing then to your budget
Yeah,
to pay for that. So you don't want to get that far into.
Yes.
And part of that, like, if you wanted to say, this part goes to infrastructure and maybe this little section will give everybody just a wish. They have X amount that they can have on their wish list or whatever, So Jan's office will get X amount of dollars, and if she wants to go buy a new, I don't know, whatever. Then, she can use that money as she sees fit for her department. It's just something that,
A plan.
just a plan, yes.
It sounds like a good idea. So, do any of y'all want to volunteer to be on that plan? making
I was on the original
Committee.
so. Whoever.
volunteers? We need a couple of commissioners.
I would think so.
I'll do it.
Chris? Who
So
else?
wait,
Vince said he did it.
And Ben.
oh,
Okay.
I don't care. If you'll be on it. go
no,
on.
no, that's good. Y'all have bigger projects than I would as far as maintenance anyway.
That good for everybody?
Who's gonna be their project?
Right, that's objective.
Just their input.
Project.
Yeah.
They would know more if,
Oh,
how to budget that. Yeah, yeah, because
To be done.
I mean.
Okay.
I would like a transporter that would transport us from one place to another.
That's kind of expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, that is expensive. Yeah, there you go.
So that's all that
All
I
right.
had, that
All right, so I'll leave that up to y'all to figure out when you're gonna get together and present the plan.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anything else on the budget? That we need to make decisions on today, or
now that I know- now that I know
agreements.
the exact rate for retirement.
Right.
I know exactly what we're gonna do for salaries, but
Insurance is done. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
enrollment period.
Enrollment will be over Wednesday. We've got one.
Oh, that's right, till the
Yeah,
31st.
we've got one, I think it's kind of late, so we'll know for sure.
Okay,
But we've got that budgeted and there's not that much difference in
right.
HSA and 80/20. So our biggest deal was to see the ones that do not take the insurance now, make sure they are not going on by then because that's 14,000 a year.
Right.
Do we have any so far?
We right now have 8 or 9 that don't take the insurance.
Have they added though?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now, usually by first of the summer, so they start thinking about, oh, we're gonna have to add it, you know, and it's, they have it with their spouse, so if it's their spouse has changed jobs. Of course, anytime during the year like that, let's say that somebody, like, let's say I was on my spouse's and come January, my spouse changed jobs and I couldn't be on it, then that's a qualifying event.
Right.
So they can get
We could-
on.
you could
Now,
add.
that money won't be budgeted, you
Right.
know, at that point, but.
so is that something that we would want to budget enough for insurance for all employees, whether they decide to get it, or is that something that we would want
I
to,
don't know, that's,
if they happen to sign up, we could use that contingency line item?
I think you
or
want to use
something.
the contingency, because you're looking at a lot of money.
A lot.
Budget and all that.
We've never budgeted for those. Yeah. To my knowledge.
Yeah, no, we don't. But we've never really had as many that don't take the insurance as we have now. You don't want to get that too up there, because then you got your healthy people that don't want the insurance. They got it with somebody else, and now you've got unhealthy and the rates are gonna get. Yeah, you gotta be real careful. You know, used to, we made them go on the insurance. Because used to, if you had 2 insurances like that, what
Yeah.
we didn't pay, the other one.
We
kinda
would
picked
pick up. Yeah.
Well, nowadays they've changed the insurance to where they don't let you do that hardly, you know, they don't pick up anything. But you have to be careful on getting you a percent that's too high, people not being on the insurance.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a benefit and they knew that when they kept work here. But I wouldn't budget for it right now, though.
I've got good insurance.
I know you do. I'm fixing to have that insurance.
It's not bad.
No.
Okay. Can y'all think of anything else? Kathy?
I can't think of anything. So on the raise and on everything, we're talking, we're putting it in for everybody. You know, I mean, except for, supplement people, everybody, right?
It,
And that's what we
200 a
figured
month?
in.
200.
Yeah, 200 a month it is.
What is that?
Figured into the people who get
2%?
Supplements.
Oh, it varies. It depends on your salary. It could be 2% up to
Oh,
4%
oh,
on some. No, it's just it's flat 200 a month.
yeah, yeah.
and the $2,000 we've got to be paid, or we were thinking of paying that in November, right?
The end of November.
with the, it'll be figured in with the paycheck because that's the
Yeah, that's-
best way to do that as far as taxes.
Yeah, the supplement, we would have, if we paid it during the month of November, we'd have to tax it at 22%.
Right.
And I would have to get a new W-4 on everybody. And that W-4 does not say to 22%. It's
I don't think you would have to get a new W-4. I mean, it would just be a flat rate.
flat rate. So.
So it's just better to just pay it with payroll. Okay,
All the treasurers I've talked to, that's what they've done. They've
Right.
paid it with payroll.
anything else? You don't think of anything? Look at us. 10:05.
I'd like to make a motion
Mm-hmm.
to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second, everyone in favor? Okay. Meeting adjourned.